Hey guys, how's it going? It's Ricky with TechWit Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for our weekly Sunday Stock Tech. So we have actually a couple people that are joining us. Hopefully they're pretty quiet. But yeah, so we have a lot of questions that I'm going to be going through. Hopefully I could answer most of them. There was a really good suggestion that we received from, I believe it's Action. He said he kind of wants to, in a sense, talk about like the different components or different sectors in the stock market, right? Such as, his suggestions were basic material, finance, healthcare, tech, and the primary interests. Those are his primary interests, right? I want to ask you guys what you guys think, other than our Sunday Stock Talks being like, just weekly analysis or recaps on the weeks of trading. I actually do think, kind of dividing everything into different sectors would be a lot more beneficial, especially for different traders. So if they want to, in a sense, focus a little bit more on the sector of, finance or healthcare, and kind of just focus on those penny stocks. If you become, in a sense, like a pro when it comes to like healthcare penny stock, and how the market of healthcare is doing, I mean, you can, in a sense, do better and not have to worry about, just different technology or different mix of like commodities or any other sector, and just focus on your own individual sector, which can, lead to you being a way more successful trader. So I want to ask you guys what you guys think about that. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And then if you guys, decide on you guys liking that idea, then we'll definitely go ahead and do that. So that was an awesome suggestion from Af. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this one correctly. So it's Afshin, right? So, and then Brian came up with a really good question especially for all that have been joining us within the past 3 weeks. The most common question has been about day trading, and Robinhood, being a non-commissionable app, just allow you to day trade, but they allow you to day trade 3 days out of a 5-day period, and those are business days, meaning that if you buy and sell within 1 day, that is considered or labeled as a day trade. So you could only do that 3 days out of 5 business days. So when it comes to you wanting to day trade multiple times a day, and the only way to do that is to have over a $25,000 account. So what I would usually do is, my risk account being $2,500, I would fund my account to $25,000 to lift that limit, and then I can go back and day trade. I did find out, so Jeremy from View Bros, when he came over and we filmed that Santa Claus videos, we ended up calling a Robinhood rep, and we actually asked them, if you don't use Robinhood Instant and you're an all cash account, let's say you have $10,000 in that account and you want to day trade, if you don't get Robinhood Instant, you will be able to day trade. You just have to manage your risk. So what that means is if you have $10,000 and you risk $1,000 every time, that means you can trade 10 times before that cash has to settle. So the reason Robinhood Instant or Robinhood locks you into that 3 to 5 day, in a sense, period of, only being able to day trade 3 times out of the 5-day period, is because they give you in a sense, the equity of whatever. Let's say you have $1,000. If you buy and sell, and you can use those $1,000 instantly. That is why it's Robinhood Instant. If you have a normal cash account with any other brokerage company, you usually have to wait 3 to 5 days for that, money to settle, kind of like a transfer. Of like when you transfer your funds to a bank account, it usually takes 3 to 5 days for that, to fully be successful and fully process. So with you being on only cash account, let's say you have $10,000 or $25,000, or more realistically, let's say you want to, risk, for all those that, want to day trade multiple times a day, and kind of just want to get the concept of trading. If you, have $1,000 and you manage yourself to only risk $100 every single time, just multiple times within a day, and not have to worry about hitting that 1,000 limit, since in a sense you can trade 100 times. So overall, that was a huge kind of tool that we can use to benefit ourselves. So Brian, to answer your question, you do not need $25,000 to day trade. You just have to have an all cash account, so no Robinhood Instant, an effort to be able to day trade multiple times. But then you do have to have a larger account, which can kind of be harder for, in a sense, people that are starting out that don't have, $5, $10, $20, $30,000 to risk initially. So kind of, if you have like $1,000 in your account, or $500 or $100, then you have to spread it out into how many days realistically. Maybe 2 times a day you're going to be trading. So you have to do the math, and again, you're going to need it. Or you need to give it 3 to 5 days for that to settle before you can actively use that. And Jetson, kind of just went with the assist and answered some of his questions, and then hopefully I answered Brian's question with that. All right. There's Rick Edwards. He asked me a question through the GroupMe application. I didn't really understand it. If you want to resend it, I'll go ahead and answer that. So you guys kept asking about what car I got. So I'm going to be making a video with one of my buddies who has a similar SPAC car this upcoming week. So you guys can see it. Then I'll probably let you guys know beforehand. It's nothing crazy. It's really just like a normal car. But it's a fun car that I've it's kind of like a fanboy car. Kind of just wanted to buy it, and I'll probably have it for 1 to 2 months, kind of like the M3, and then move on to another car. So, all right. So Rick Edwards also asked multiple questions after that, and then so he asked, how do you make so much money so fast when trading starts? So the reason I only trade for 2 hours actively, and I'm sure tech buds, well, with all the people in tech buds, you guys notice it right away that within the first 2 hours, I'm very active within our group. After that, I set alerts, and then I trade according to those alerts. After that, I don't trade too actively, meaning that I actively trade for about 2 hours, because that is, when you see the most volume within the group. So therefore, within actually the first 10 to 15 minutes is when you see the most volume. So for REXX, it's one that we trade quite often, and we know that a good balance is usually from around 48 cents, and it usually hits 52 cents. So understanding that, let's say it opens down to 46, I buy in at 46, understanding, because I've traded it before, that it holds pretty well above 48. Buy in at 46. If it hits 50, sell at 50. I made a 4-cent profit on a 46-cent stock. It's about 8% to 9% profit. I'm trading with a $2,500 account. I made $225, $250 within a matter of minutes, if not seconds. There's been days that I've woken up and within 5 minutes I've made that was one of my biggest gains when it was with NUGT. Went up about 23%, and I made nearly $1,000. I was up 1,000, 300, came back down, sold for a $950 profit, something around there. But there's also been days, that's where you have to set stop losses. You could buy in, and it could take a larger dip. That's why you have your stop loss to minimize your losses, where I set it at most 2.5%. And with that, if I control how much money I lose, then in the long run I can at least control how much money I make, when it comes to day trading. So I'm going to be getting my W-2 form, or my tax return form from Robinhood, since they sent me that alert through Fidelity and through TD Ameritrade. If you guys, I don't know if I'm going to tell you guys the exact number, but I'm going to kind of break it down for you guys on exactly what it is that I made trading 2 hours a day for 2016. And I think that's, especially when it comes to numbers and, trading being all about numbers, I think that'd be something you guys would definitely find beneficial. And realistically, if I only trade 2 hours, and with my risk account on the total percentage return that I saw on my initial investment on 2,500, you guys are gonna be so surprised on what I made out of it, right? So 2,500 is just the amount I risk. Obviously, I have more that I fund with, but it's great. I truly enjoyed it. I do it for 2 hours. I make with just that hobby in a sense. Then I believe it's 50% or 40% of America just with that little hobby, and you guys can definitely do it. And I'm really excited for 2017. We've been off to a good start so far. You guys have been killing it. You guys were writing DRYS, NUGT, and last week gold. Just like we talked about, after the new year, gold tends to pick up. We talked about that. I believe a month back. And exactly like it's doing, it picked up, it dropped back down. I was talking to one of my buddies, Chance, and he's one that was an NUGT. I told him, when it drops below $10, since it broke 10, and that was a really strong resistance, that it wasn't able to break for about one month to 1.5 months. It broke it, hit about 10.5, and ended up just dropping below 10. I told him to set a stop loss below 10, because it's going to just dip after that. I believe it ended up going down to $8.50, which is a huge drop, So make sure you lock in that profit and stay realistic when it comes to trading. So let's go ahead and answer one of his other questions. He asked, how do I keep up with multiple stocks? So I mainly do that because of you guys, and because of how, how much, in a sense, support that I have from you guys, and I also feel like I need to give, as much as I can to you guys. I filter about 30 to 40 stocks usually every night, or during like Monday through Friday, in effort to find at least 5 stocks that I have prepared for this upcoming week. I set alerts for about multiple stocks. I almost set alerts for all of them, and with that, within the 5 stocks that I pick, I set the alerts with that, and then I have my own little watch list for the morning, and I usually let you guys know on the pre-market, kind of, you guys have in a sense, kind of an idea of what it is that I'm trading that day. Rex, NUGT, DRYS, those are all ones that I trade, almost just weekly. But then it fluctuates, when in a sense energy isn't doing that well, then I can switch over to gold. And I think that's why with Askin's like suggestion on kind of trying to elaborate a little bit more on how these different sectors are doing in our market can give us all a better understanding, because it's going to make me put forth the effort to understand each individual sector that much more. That is going to benefit me when it comes to my trading, as well for you guys, learning from me, as well as you guys will be putting your own 2 cents when it comes to trying to learn a little bit more about how marijuana and why it took a dip last week, and why it was doing so well like the last 2 weeks of 2016. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I think definitely that is one of the best ideas that we've gotten so far. So yeah, I do keep up with a lot of stocks. I set alerts. I use TD Ameritrade to set my alerts, which is a very helpful app. You can set it up with Fidelity. These are just brokerage companies that I'm suggesting. Does not mean that you guys have to use any of them. You guys can, especially those that are in different countries, you guys kind of have to, just navigate and look for what the best one is for yourself. And then with that, throw it into our group and kind of see if anyone else benefits from that individual brokerage company. Talk about what you like or what you don't like from that company itself. So if you shouldn't hold penny stocks, one of your guys' questions was like, what if you hold a penny stock for multiple months? Obviously, us being day traders, we don't do that. I wouldn't suggest holding a penny stock for a long period of time. There was a guy that I was speaking to, hopefully he doesn't mind me using his name, but his name's Justin. And this guy that I spoke to for about 30 minutes to an hour, and we are talking about how he's focusing not because he can't day trade because he's been so busy. He checks in with our group, and then he's been benefiting on, understanding kind of like what we're trading. And with that, he focuses on like, the bigger kind of like monopolies in that individual sector, and then, invest in that, and kind of ends up just focusing on those individual sectors, and they're more secure companies, so they tend to not fluctuate too much and to have a steady growth. What about option trading? You can do option trading, and you can give us your own 2 cents when it comes to what it is that you think of it. We mainly do momentum trading, if not technical trading, which means we kind of like focus more on graphs and analysis. But that's definitely something that we're always open to. So if you find that to be somewhat successful and you could use our concept, then why not, right? At what time do you start trading and stop trading? So again, Mountain Standard Time, because I live in Arizona, market opens at 7:30 and it closes at 2 o'clock. After hours or pre-market hours, I believe, are for 1 hour after or 1 hour before, and then 1 or 2 hours before and 1 or 2 hours after. So if you're in California, I believe you guys are 1 hour behind, so yours opens at 6:30. And if you're in the East Coast, I believe it's like 3 hours ahead. So it's like a 9 to 5 or 3 hours or 2 hours ahead. I'm not too sure, but that's definitely something that I'd suggest, depending on what time zone you're in, that you have a good understanding, because the first 10 to 30 minutes are the most profitable minutes within that period. But yeah, that's I try to focus mainly on the 30 minutes to be my most successful trades. And I think I answered the majority of your guys' questions. Yeah, and then they kept asking about what car I got. So, but yeah, I'm really excited for this week. It's gonna be like, last week was just really hectic on trying to get the deal done for the M3. I drove to California. Did you guys see that thing? I drove to California. It took about 6 hours from Arizona to California. I drove to San Diego that same time. So I got off of work, drove at 5:30, got there at 12, left at 1, got to San Diego at 2 or 3, and then slept there for about an hour, and then drove back around 4 to 5 back to Arizona. And then I worked 8 hours, and then did everything that I had to do with my different partners for the different companies that we have. But it was a really long day, and then I slept 10 or 12 hours the following day, recuperated, and now I'm excited, to start the week. I start school tomorrow, so ASU Polytechnic, getting ready to start 2017 on a good note. It's going to be probably one of the busiest. So I know you guys all are extremely busy when it comes to like your work, school schedule, whatever it is that you guys are doing. But definitely, this is definitely, in a sense, a group that I love surrounding myself with, because I feel like you guys improve me, and then, I can put in my own 2 cents that can, in a sense, benefit you guys. So, hey guys, like, tell whoever's smoking that to pass it over here. He's like, tell whoever's smoking that to pass it over here. Yeah. So do you have the same to-go stocks? I do, in a sense, have similar stocks that I usually try to focus on. REX, DRYS, NUGTR are stocks that are quite profitable in my experience. But we've had, we used to trade Eagle. We used to trade a bunch of companies that we don't trade anymore, just because, they either get delisted, the volume just isn't there, or they're just not keeping up with our standards. So again, we have 3 rules, and those rules, when it comes to trading with technical solutions, that we try to focus on and try to keep close to what it is that we're doing. First rule is to not hold a penny stock overnight. Penny stocks being under $1, true penny stocks. Second rule, only trading penny stocks that have at least 10% potential, meaning that you see that opportunity or that potential in that stock before actually buying and selling. And then the third rule would be to always set a stop loss. To lock in your. The only way that you would be able to make one is if you can control how much money you lose. So by doing that is setting a stop loss, especially with Robinhood and different companies that offer stop losses. And that's definitely a huge tool that you guys should be using, in a sense, to benefit your career as a day trader, as it can be very helpful, because these stocks are extremely volatile, and they can just take a huge dip. So those are pretty much the questions that I wanted to answer today. So this Sunday stock talk is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing hopefully a live stream tomorrow morning within the first 2 hours of trading, since my first class doesn't start till 3. I have a couple online classes. But people have been asking me to do a live stream, so hopefully I can start doing that tomorrow. But I really want to get started on setting up these different sectors, and I have to come up with kind of like a plan, or in a sense a curriculum, or kind of like a concept of how I'm going to articulate all the different sectors and how I want to talk about it to you guys. So, your input and your own 2 cents will definitely give you a better understanding on what you think, can benefit you guys on my own research, and then how we could all incorporate our own research into, benefiting all of us. So that's pretty much it. Again, it's all about setting goals, setting sub goals, and, achieving them. I've answered, I think, over 30 to 40 emails the past week, and a bunch of you guys, really just supportive comments and messages to me, and just asking me, that, or just showing me and expressing how successful you guys truly want to be. But I think the biggest thing is, setting goals, setting sub goals, which means like if your goal within 1 year is to have $100,000, that your sub goal is monthly to, make $8,333, and then to have sub goals on top of that on, making, I believe it's $453 a day that you have to hit 5 days a week to achieve that, overall $100,000 within 1 year. So having an understanding on, what it takes to achieve it and how you're going to do it, and having the plan, and then executing on that plan, especially when it comes to day trading. So if you guys have an overall, yearly goal on what you guys want to achieve, if it's 10, 20, 30, 40,000, 100,000, 20, 200,000, whatever it is that you guys want to achieve, understand how much you're risking, understand how much you plan to make, and then how you're going to do it. So have a whole plan set up. So I'm going to be talking about my plan for 2017, and I'm going to try to keep track of it and let you guys know, keep you guys updated on how I'm doing. And I definitely think that's going to help me become a better trader and more organized, as well as I think you guys will have a better understanding on how to manage yourself as, in a sense, your own boss. which is, I think, the biggest thing. So thank you guys again. We're going to have, I think, a couple trips planned, and we definitely want to take these trips with you guys. We're taking a couple trips, but it was mainly just the people that kind of originally started with TechBlitz, but I want to make sure we include all of you guys. So we want to be traveling and taking trips and trading together, which I think will be really exciting. And we have a couple different destinations that seem to be, very attractive to different members. So thank you guys again so much for joining us for our weekly Sunday Stock Talk. This one's kind of different, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit from the questions that I answered. And I'm going to be doing a recap on tomorrow's trading. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. If you guys can give this video a thumbs up, we'd greatly appreciate it. And if you guys can subscribe, that'd be even better. Thank you guys again. Have a good rest of your day, and let's make sure that we start the week on a green note. Take care, guys.